Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we are going to talk start collecting Warhammer 40,000, and today we're going to take a look at the Chaos Demons and indeed their Combat Patrol box set. Now, in this video, the aim is to take a look at the contents of this box set, talk a little bit about all the units that come inside it and how they sort of act on the tabletop briefly, before having a look at some other units we can use to expand upon this initial box set. We'll finally finish off the video with a little sample army list of 1,000 points for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own Chaos Demons army for Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. And so, to begin with, first of all, we have a character inside this box set, and this is the Bloodmaster Herald of Khorne. Now, it does look a little bit samey with some of the blood letters around it, and the way you determine which one this is you can see it is on the larger base than all the other characters around. Now, the Bloodmaster itself is toughness 4 with 4 wounds. He's a pretty minor sort of character, but the Blade of Blood is pretty nice with 5 attacks at weapon skill 2+, strength 6, -2 AP, damage 3 in melee, though no ranged attack. This is a common thing for demons. Now, we have a couple of rules where while this model is leading a unit, each time a model in the unit it's leading makes an attack, you can add one to the wound rolls, and a Gory Path, each time this model's units consolidates, it can do so up to 6 inch rather than the regular 3 inch. So some pretty cool combat focused abilities. Now, Chaos Demons also do have invulnerable saves on pretty much everything in their army, so you've got a 4-up invulnerable save on the model as well as a base save of 5+. Now, you have a few units you can lead, which is the Bloodletters, of course. This, just goes hand in hand and makes the box set really nice when you've got the unit you can lead alongside the character. Now, speaking of that unit, Bloodletters are a battle line option for the Chaos Demons, and they are, Chaos Demons of Khorne. This entire box set is focused around the Chaos God Khorne, which is the god of war and slaughter and battle and all those sort of cool things, so hence the heavy combat focus of it. Now, the Bloodletters themselves are going to pack out a decent combat profile with 2 attacks each, weapon skill 3+, strength 5, -2 AP, damage 2. Pretty good at opening up Space Marines. Now, they've got Blood Begets Blood, where each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, you can reroll wound rolls of 1. Remembering, if you've got that Rendmaster in there, they're going to get +1 a wound as well. But also, if that attack targets a unit that is below half strength, you just flat out reroll your wounds, which is nice. You do have a couple of upgrades in these units in the Demonic Icon, where it will give you a leadership characteristic of 6+ rather than the 7+ they have, and the Instrument of Chaos will allow you to add one to your charge rolls. They also have a base save of 7+, but they do have the invulnerable of 5+, so there's that to add to them. Now, the next unit to look at inside of this particular set is the Fleshhounds of Khorne, a different sort of unit for us. Now, these aren't battle line, but they do have some nice additional bits in their profile. Movement 12 is really nice. They have their Gore-Drenched Fangs for 3 attacks each, weapon skill 3+, strength 5, though only -1 AP, so they do get an extra attack over the Bloodletters, but are going to be less AP, and they are damage 1. Now, you've got the leader of the units can also have the Burning Roar, which is ignores cover and has the Torrent ability, so auto hits with D6 attacks. Strength 4, no AP, damage 1, and 12-inch range, giving you a tiny bit of shooting. Now, you've got the Pouncing Hunters rule, where you can target this unit with a Heroic Intervention stratagem for 0 CP, and can do so even if you've already used the stratagem in the phase. And the Collar of Khorne as well allows them to have a Feel No Pain 3+ against any psychic attacks that would dare challenge them. Now, lastly, inside this box set, you have Blood Crushers, which are essentially Bloodletters on their Juggernaut mounts. Now, you've got the Juggernaut's Bladed Horn to go along with the Hellblade, which is the same profile as the Bloodletters have, but this has the extra attacks rule, which means you get to actually use this in addition to your other fight, so you're going to have all the attacks on the profile here for 6 attacks per model. And you've got the Lance rule on the Juggernaut's Bladed Horn as well. 4 attacks, hitting on a 4+, at strength 6, -1 AP, damage 1 is pretty nice. And the Brass Stampede rule, each time this unit ends a charge move, you select an enemy unit within engagement range and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. And for each 4+, you actually do D3 mortal wounds to the enemy unit. You also have the option in this unit to take the Demonic Icon and Instrument of Chaos for the same benefits they would supply to the Bloodletters. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. And so, where to look to next after those first box set? For me, it is the Bloodthirster. Bringing in, the ultimate combat monster of the Force, especially for Khorne, is definitely where to go. Toughness 11 with 18 wounds. These things are pretty darn tough. Now, you've got standard the Great Axe of Khorne, where you have the ability to fight in either strike or sweep. Always, I like these particular weapons on models. This allows you to either do, lots of horde killing potential with your strike, or sweep here with, the ability to hit things like tanks and other monsters as well. Now you've got the Hellfire Breath as well, which is a ranged attack, ignores cover and torrent, D6 attacks, 12-inch range, no need to hit, of course, because of torrent. Strength 5, minus 1 AP, damage 1 is pretty nice for a nice little bit, once again, of some extra shooting, though, relatively short range. And you've got the option to swap out that Great Axe of Khorne for Blood Flail as well, or the Lash of Khorne for some other abilities. Now, they do have quite a few special rules. So first of all, the Demon Lord of Khorne aura, where while a friendly Khorne Legionnaires Demonica unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that model in the unit makes a melee attack, you can add 1 to the hit rolls. This goes really nice along with our Rendmaster, who's giving +1 a wound to a unit. So we can make one of those Bloodletter units +1 a hit, +1 a wound, which is pretty cool. And then Relentless Charge. At the end of the fight phase, you can select one enemy unit within engagement range of this model and roll 8d6. For each 4+, the enemy unit will suffer a mortal wound. And as mentioned, you've got all those other options available for it in the different sort of weaponry, but this thing just packs an absolute punch. Now, speaking of a unit that can pack a punch, we do have a named character variation of the Bloodthirster called Scarbrand. Scarbrand's pretty cool. He's got a nice little cool bit of lore as well, where he's actually a Bloodthirster of Khorne that was Khorne's mightiest champion at one point and thought he may actually challenge Khorne for power. And so struck him, and the strongest of all the Bloodthirsters barely put a scratch upon Khorne and was then hurtled across the realms, and which is the reason he's got those very damaged and broken wings, because he impacted somewhere in the realm of chaos and his wings were just torn up. Now, he has some cool abilities. First of all, his Bellow of Endless Fury is a torrent attack, so he's got 2d6 attacks with that. Strength 5, but no AP, unlike the regular Bloodthirster. And then he has Slaughter and Carnage, his twin pair of axes. They have strike and sweep profiles, so he can either be strength 16 with damage 6, or he can have, a damage 2 attack, but be strength 8, but double his attacks to 16 instead of 8. Now, we've got Rage in Body, where while a friendly Khorne Legionnaires Demonica unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, is within 6 inch, they add 1 to their attack. So once again, he can sort of further buff units around. So you can get +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 attack, and all these different models really helping sort of boost up our power. And the Murderlust as well, while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit is selected to fall back, it must take a leadership test, and if the test is failed, it must remain stationary. Now, moving on to another piece I think that's really interesting for our Khorne force, and that is the Skull Cannon of Khorne. This definitely brings, something we don't have in our force already in a dedicated range piece, though it is still a Khorne fighting piece, so it still does have, some AP -2 damage to 4 attacks in melee, plus the Biting Maw for another couple of attacks as well. But the big thing is the Skull Cannon, 48-inch range, D6 plus 2 attacks at Blitzskill 3 plus, strength 9, -1 AP, damage 2. It's an interesting thing, strength 9, but then damage 2, but it does put out a decent amount of attacks. It's sort of going to work against those lighter sort of vehicles, so I'm thinking things like Sentinels, Invictus Tactical War Suits, that sort of stuff is probably what it's aimed to take out. Now, it has Skulls of the Fallen, where in your shooting phase after this model shot, you can select an enemy unit that was hit by one or more of these attacks and inflict a battle shock test, which is always just a cool ability to have. Now, lastly, we have the alternate build for this particular kit, which actually builds up a different character for us called the Rendmaster on Bloodthrone. Now, what this model is going to provide is it's going to have the Bloodthirster ability, where at the start of the fight phase, select an enemy unit within 18-inch invisible, and each time a friendly Khorne Legionnaires Demonica unit makes an attack that targets that unit, you improve the strength, armor penetration, and damage characteristic of that attack by 1. Champion Slayer as well means each time this model makes a melee attack that targets a character or monster, you can re-roll the wound roll, and each time it destroys an enemy character or monster, it'll regain D6 lost wounds. And so here we have our sample army list for the Chaos Demons using the Detachment Demonic Incursion, which is the only one we currently have access to, but I'm sure as we see the books come out for the game, we'll see more and more of these. Now, we do have pretty much the basis of this whole army is built upon our initial Combat Patrol box set. The Bloodmaster is a character, the 2 units of Bloodletters, splitting them up into 2. You could put them as one big unit, and this may help that Bloodmaster out, giving you, a little bit more punch, but I think having units split up in these first sort of smaller games is probably more useful. This is just going to allow you to play across the table a little bit better. Same with the Flesh Hounds there, 2 units of 5 rather than 1 unit of 10. And then the Blood Crushers as well. Now, the thing we've added into the initial box set is the Bloodthirster, who will take over the role of being the Warlord, and we've got the Great Axe of Khorne, my favourite one of the weapons that are available. Now, the enhancement we've gone for here is Argath, the King of Blades, and what this does is we can only put this on Khorne models, but we add one to the attack strength characteristic of the bearer's melee weapons, and while they're within your army's Shadow of Chaos ability, you actually add 2 to these profiles instead. But if you've got some ideas for the Chaos Demons, especially Chaos Demons of Khorne, using this particular box set as the core, let us know your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And so that is the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me, we have a Discord server for the channel, and that is linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. This is either via Patreon or YouTube members using one of our affiliate links and codes down there, like Baron of Dice, Gap Games, or Mithras Games, or by supporting us directly on Patreon or YouTube members. If you'd like to do any of those, we have links for that all in the description, and as a special thank you to our Patrons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Soren, Kenny Lowell, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C, and our YouTube members: Greenridge Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, and John Castle. Lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Once again, everyone, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.